It's time to talk blends, and why not start with the best-selling Scotch whisky of all time? It's the Johnnie Walker Red Label, coming right up. Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's VinPF, and if this is your first time on the channel, please do consider subscribing. I put out content just like this every week. This week, we're going to be checking out one of the first real blendeds on the channel. I've done a couple of sly blends in the past, but this one here is the most iconic Scotch whisky of all time, the Johnnie Walker Red Label. The most sold whisky, Scotch whisky in the world, specifically the Red Label, but the Johnnie Walker brand just triumphs above all. And this is my first Johnnie Walker on the channel, so I figured why not give it a go and see why so many people want to buy this. As you can see, I have a wee bottle here. I didn't want to buy a full bottle because I'd never had this before, so I wasn't really certain what it would be like. I've heard some horrific things, I've heard some not so horrific things, so let's go straight into it and see what we get. Okay, so quite clearly added colour, things like that. Don't tend to worry too much about that. This is a Diageo brand. Johnnie Walker itself started with blending probably 1865, and I think they did like a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old blended Scotch. This Red Label, along with at the time a black label and a white label, which didn't last very long, started in 1909, and the red and black have been going ever since. The white label sort of disappeared 1911. So, you know, this is a long-standing whisky. Now, it's meant to have upwards of 35 whiskies inside it, and we're talking stuff like grains and malts from a multitude of different distilleries, from, you know, things like Cardhu, Aberfeldy, Talisker, Cragganmore, things like that. I mean, there's just so much stuff in there. They don't really tell you exactly what's in there and what percentages go where, but they've kind of kept this colour and consistency going for a very long time. Whew, okay, so let's go into the nose and see where we are for something that's probably, it's a no-ish statement, but we can expect it to be 3 years. The black label is everything above it, it's kind of 12 years and above, but it could be stuff that's over 3 years, but for the price of it, it's unlikely. Okay, so on the nose, you are getting a touch of peat. There is peated whiskey in here, very small amounts, but they're quite dominant in the flavour profile. And for me, there's a few sweet apples in there as well, but I mostly find it quite astringent and chemically. Not in the kind of medicinal chemicals that you get from an Isla, like a Lafroig or something like that, but more of a kind of synthetic kind of smell to it. Let's go on to the palate and see where we are. So immediately on the tip of the tongue, there's some sweetness there. That might just be because that's where the tip of the tongue stuff is, but it quickly disappears. Get this kind of sourness over the back of your tongue. And yeah, it's kind of more of that syntheticness to it. Some peat comes through, definitely some peat in there. And the finish, I would say, short to non-existent. Non-existent to short. And a little bit sour as well. I mean, I wouldn't say I've been overly positive about that at all, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible in any stretch of the imagination. It's drinkable, and I shall. I've only got a small bottle, but I will get rid of that with no problems at all. That said, I wouldn't keep this as a regular contents of my whiskey cabinet. I feel like, I mean, this is definitely a mixer's whiskey, definitely 100% a mixer's whiskey. I would say it's probably not meant to be assessed critically like I have done today, but that is the point of the channel. This is not a connoisseur's whiskey. Mix it with your Coke, mix it with your ginger, stuff like that before, like I had the Hague Club last week. That's what it's designed to do, and that's what people buy it for, I feel. I'm sure there are people out there that sip this And there are people that buy it because their budgets aren't as high as most people's, and that's absolutely fine. I feel like this is a worthy addition to your cabinet if you like such things. If you're looking for something that's a little bit deeper, a little bit more, I don't want to say enjoyable, but there's stuff to pick out of it. You know, you can sit there and really assess it. This isn't your go-to. However, I understand the black and double black and above, the differences are exponential, and we'll be looking at those very soon. For this, not for me. There you go, that's the Johnnie Walker Red Label. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel over here, like the video below, and please feel free to check out some of the other videos on the channel here and here for more content just like this. Thanks for joining me on another No Nonsense Whisky video.